Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya TV. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, new currency notes continue to be our top focus. Now, snake-like queues have been reported from outside ATMs from wee hours this morning. We'll tell you all of that. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in Tokyo today. The two leaders are expected to seal a landmark nuclear energy pact that will materialize after 6 long years of negotiations. All the details on that as well. Let us begin with the headlines. 2 days after staying shut, ATMs across the country reopen. Government allays fears over demonetization. Opposition criticism continues. TMC notice in Rajya Sabha to discuss issue on 16th of November. India takes a strong objection to World Bank's decision to set up parallel dispute resolution mechanism over construction of 2 dams in Jammu and Kashmir, says it is legally untenable under the Indus Water Treaty. Punjab says it does not have a single drop of Satluj water to spare. State government to appeal to President against the Supreme Court's decision. Congress seeks early elections in Punjab. India and Japan expected to ink 12 pacts, including the crucial civil nuclear deal, after bilateral meetings between Prime Minister Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And US President Barack Obama meets successor Donald Trump at the White House. Both leaders discuss domestic and foreign policy. Anti-Trump protests continue across America. The top story this morning, 2 days after the surprise announcement of demonetization, now ATMs across the nation have reopened today. Long queues were seen outside the ATMs with new currency notes of 500 and 2,000 rupees available. Now, withdrawal from ATMs will be restricted to 2,000 rupees per day per card in the first few days, which will be later raised to 4,000 rupees. Now, withdrawals from bank accounts will be limited to 10,000 rupees a day and 20,000 rupees a week. Now, people have been allowed to exchange old notes of 500 and 1,000 rupees at any bank or head post office or sub post office with a daily limit of 4,000 rupees while showing ID proof up to 24th of November. People, however, can deposit in the old banks in banks or post office accounts till 30th of December this year.
विथड्रॉ तो अभी तक नहीं हो रहा है, बट कैश डिपॉजिट कर सकते हैं। ऐसा गवर्नमेंट में जब काले धन पे ये रोक लगाया तो 1 दिन और 2 दिन का एडजस्टमेंट चलता है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। अगर ये 7-8 दिन तक कंटिन्यू हो गया तब दिक्कत होगी, बट 1-2 दिन हम लोग मैनेज कर सकते हैं।
7 बजे से खड़े हम सुबह लाइन में। हम टीवी पे दिखाया था कि 8 बजे के टाइम में खुलने का, तो इसीलिए हम 7 बजे आ गए थे यहाँ पे। जो भाई जल्दी खुलेगा तो जल्दी काम हो जाएगा, ड्यूटी भी जाना है, तो इसीलिए 7 बजे से खड़े हम लोग यहाँ पे लाइन में।
The step taken is good, but there is a lot of loopholes in it. That's all I want to say. ये जो टाइम दिया गया है, इसका मतलब ये वो लोग फॉलो करें, हम लोग बस यही चाहते हैं और कुछ नहीं।
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the government was unwavering in its efforts to create an India that is corruption-free. In a series of tweets from Japan, the Prime Minister said, "I assure you the government is unwavering in its efforts to create an India that is corruption-free and fruits of development touch every citizen." Unquote. He also said it is also heartening to learn that people are actively volunteering to help senior citizens withdraw money and exchange their currency. Such warmth, enthusiasm and the patience to bear limited inconvenience for a greater good is indeed very heartening. Unquote. Meanwhile, a taxman conducted surveys in Delhi, Mumbai and some other cities in the wake of reports of alleged profiteering and tax evasion by traders and other operators in the reported conversion of demonetized currency notes. Now, under the survey action, the tax sleuths visited business premises of the traders and made analysis of the available stock and recorded it. Well, the department had received specific inputs that some traders, jewelers, currency exchangers and hawala dealers were allegedly exploiting the recent currency demonetization of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes and were changing currencies at discounted prices, thereby profiteering illegally. Meanwhile, the Trinamool Congress has given a notice in Rajya Sabha to discuss the government's demonetization issue on day one of the winter session of Parliament that begins from 16th of November. Now, party leader in Lok Sabha, Sudeep Bandyopadhyay, also said that the party would bring an adjournment motion in the lower house on the same issue on 16th of November. Remember, TMC chief and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has been highly critical of the centre's move, demanding an immediate withdrawal of what she has called a draconian move. Now, calling it a political and financial anarchy, she appealed to all political parties to come together to fight what the party has termed is an anti-poor move. Now, Banerjee also said that a wrong message has been sent to the people. She also mocked the Prime Minister, saying that after making the people of the country poor, the Prime Minister has embarked on a visit to Japan. On to some other news now, and Supreme Court's ruling favouring Haryana on the contentious Sutlej-Yamuna link canal issue has set temperatures soaring in Punjab, with the state Congress chief Narendra Singh quitting as MP and declaring the party MLAs will follow suit. Now, Punjab Chief Minister Parkash Singh Badal asserted that not a drop of water will be allowed to be taken out of the state, even as Haryana welcomed the decision. The Supreme Court on Thursday held as unconstitutional the 2004 law passed by the Punjab state government to terminate the Sutlej-Yamuna link canal water sharing agreement with neighbouring states. It also said Punjab could not have taken a unilateral decision to terminate the water sharing agreement with Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi and Chandigarh. Thursday's judgment implies that the 2004 Act was not in consonance with the Apex Court judgment of 2003, which had mandated the construction of the SYL canal that had been stalled.
Haryana government has won the case which was pertaining to water dispute between Haryana state and Punjab state.
4 प्रश्न पूछे प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट से, 5 का ही जवाब उन्होंने कहा कि नेगेटिव में दिया, पॉजिटिव में नहीं दिया। तो अब जो एडवाइस है वो एडवाइस प्रेसिडेंट को मिल गई है। अब उसके बाद स्टेप्स सेंट्रल लेगी, पंजाब लेगी, हरियाणा लेगी अपने अपने हितों में।
The Apex Court's ruling favouring Haryana on the issue has set political temperatures soaring in Punjab. Chief Minister Parkash Singh Badal asserted that not a drop of water will be allowed to be taken out of the state. The state will also appeal to the President not to accept the advice of the Apex Court.
साडे वास्ते पहला जो है पानी है। पानी तो बिना मेरे ख्याल जो पंजाब का पानी ना होवे तो देश भी भुखा मर जाए। और सारी इंडस्ट्री, किसानी, पंजाब की इकोनॉमी सब पानी से मुनसर। इस करके वट एवर वे दी रीजन असी किसी हालत पंजाब का पानी बाहर नहीं जाना।
Haryana, however, welcomed the court's decision, with the ruling BJP as well as the Congress and INLD calling it a historic verdict and a victory for the people of the state.
ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट का निर्णय राष्ट्रपति महोदय तक जाएगा और राष्ट्रपति महोदय निश्चित रूप से वो जो एक्ट पारित हुआ है उसको वापस लौटाएंगे और जो फैसला हरियाणा पंजाब का SYL के पानी के बंटवारे का हुआ है वो लागू होगा, उसमें कहीं कोई अब गुंजाइश नहीं।
इसमें क्योंकि हरियाणा का हक था और हरियाणा अपना बहुत दिनों से इस हक से वंचित था, तो इस वास्ते मैं उसका स्वागत करता हूं।
हरियाणा के लिए आज असली मायने में दिवाली जो चली गई वो दिवाली अपनी जगह थी। असली मायने में अगर हरियाणा प्रदेश के लोगों के लिए कोई दिवाली है, असली मायने में खुशी है।
Soon after the verdict, Punjab Congress President Narendra Singh resigned from his Lok Sabha seat, while his party MLAs resigned en masse from the State Assembly to protest the decision. The party MLAs sent their resignations to the Speaker of the Punjab Assembly. Punjab goes to polls early next year.
I am very disappointed, I am very unhappy, I am very sad for Punjab that this decision has taken this place. You mustn't forget that this was the issue that brought about trouble in Punjab 30 years ago. And we don't want that scenario to take place. That's one. We want the law and order to be maintained. That's the first thing. Second issue is that we would like to protect the rights of our farmers, and because the whole of southern Punjab will go dry if this happens.
पंजाब का सही माने में अदालत के सामने जिस कारण फैसला अगेंस्ट आया, और जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का, केंद्र सरकार का जो वहाँ पे एडवोकेट जनरल था, उन्होंने भी पंजाब के अगेंस्ट ही वहाँ पे सब कुछ बोला, तो हम उनके रोष स्वरूप पंजाब विधानसभा से सारे विधायक इस्तीफा दे रहे हैं।
Punjab Deputy Chief Minister Sukhbir Singh Badal, however, called the resignations by Congress members a drama. The controversial 1981 water sharing agreement came into effect after Haryana was carved out of Punjab in 1966. Haryana was to use its share of water through a canal linking rivers Sutlej and Yamuna, cutting across the state. However, the construction of canal hit several roadblocks amidst protests by Punjab. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Well, on to the other big story. Well, India has taken a strong exception to the World Bank's decision to set up a court of arbitration and simultaneously appoint a neutral expert to go into Pakistan's complaint on 2 hydroelectric projects in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, India has called the World Bank's decision inexplicable. Now, MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup said in a statement it was appointed by the government to the World Bank that the pursuit of 2 parallel dispute resolution mechanisms, appointment of a neutral expert and also the establishment of a court of arbitration at the same time is legally untenable. Inexplicably, the World Bank has decided to continue to proceed with these 2 parallel mechanisms simultaneously. Now, India cannot be party to actions which are not in accordance with the Indus Water Treaty. The government will examine further options and take steps accordingly. Unquote. Remember, India had asked the World Bank to appoint a neutral expert to resolve the differences of a technical nature. However, Pakistan had sought the establishment of a court of arbitration, which is normally the logical next step in the process of resolution in the treaty. Now, the World Bank has asked both India and Pakistan to agree to mediation in order to settle a mechanism for how the Indus Water Treaty should be used to resolve issues. Simultaneously, the World Bank held a lot of draws to determine who will appoint 3 umpires to sit on the Court of Arbitration that Pakistan has requested. In a statement, the World Bank said that concurrent dispute resolution mechanisms are unworkable over time. It said that the 2 countries can agree to suspend the 2 processes during the mediation process or at any time until the processes are concluded. The bank said that the Indus Water Treaty of 1960 is seen as one of the most successful international treaties and has withstood frequent tensions between India and Pakistan, including conflict. Remember, the bank is a signatory to this treaty. And India and Japan are expected to ink 12 pacts and possibly sign a crucial civil nuclear deal today after bilateral talks between visiting Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Well, the Prime Minister addressed the Indo-Japan Business Forum a short while ago. He said that Japan has an important role as India needs scales, speed and skill. He assured Japanese business persons that India will be proactive in addressing their concerns. He said that his government will further strengthen special mechanisms, including Japanese industrial townships. He also said that India is pursuing a new direction of economic reforms and his resolve is to make it the most open economy in the world. On his second visit to Japan, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Tokyo on Thursday evening on a 3-day visit to attend the annual bilateral summit, he was given a warm welcome by members of the Indian community. He will also hold talks with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe today. He earlier held an audience with the Japanese Emperor Akihito this morning. Later in the day, he will also meet other opposition and other political leaders.
The very word Japan in India is a benchmark of quality, excellence, honesty and integrity.
And right now we'll take a very short break. We have more news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
And now an update on the Delhi pollution, and the Supreme Court has a hit out at the Central Pollution Control Board over its inaction to come up with an immediate plan to tackle the deteriorating air quality in Delhi NCR. Well, the Delhi High Court also cornered the centre and the Delhi government, calling alarming pollution levels a capital punishment for its people. The NGT has also directed the Interstate Central Monitoring Committee and the state committees to enforce their orders on vehicular pollution, dust pollution, also solid waste and crop burning. The Supreme Court on Thursday slammed the Central Pollution Control Board, asking whether it intends to just sit back and watch people gasp for breath and finally die in a polluted national capital. The Supreme Court asked the CPCB to come up with an immediate plan to tackle the deteriorating air quality in Delhi. A bench headed by Chief Justice T.S. Thakur asked the board to convene a meeting with officials, experts, doctors and other stakeholders to chalk out an urgent plan to meet the problem of pollution. The meeting would be held on 19th of November and the report is to be submitted to the court on 25th.
ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने अब 19 नवंबर डेट फिक्स करी है, जब सेंट्रल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड को कहा है कि आप सारे जो याचिका करते हैं इनको, बाकी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं और बाकी जो सजेशन दे रहे हैं उन सबको मीटिंग कॉल करो और मीटिंग में इनके सजेशन लेके 25 नवंबर को ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आगे ये रिपोर्ट दो कि आपने अभी तक कौन कौन से कंक्रीट स्टेप्स किए हैं, प्लान किए हैं ताकि दिल्ली के पोल्यूशन को इमीडिएटली कंट्रोल किया जा सके.
The Delhi High Court also cornered the state government, calling alarming pollution levels a capital punishment for the people. The court was even harsher in its observations, saying inaction by the government and stubble burning in Punjab has led to the genocide. The court asked whether votes were more important than the lives of those who vote. The National Green Tribunal also lashed out at the Delhi government for not installing air filters in government schools during the recent thick smog. The NGT also directed the Interstate Central Monitoring Committee and state committees to enforce their orders on vehicular pollution, dust pollution, solid waste and crop burning. NGT also once again rapped Delhi and neighbouring states of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh for burning stubble. The Green Panel also refused to pass any direction on giving free masks to the school-going children and senior citizens, as it observed that a mask cannot protect when the pollution level is 20 times higher than the prescribed limits.
उन्होंने आगे दो कमेटीज बना दी हैं, सेंट्रल की कमेटी और स्टेट कमेटी, और उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज फिक्स कर दी है कि वो कोर्ट में एनजीटी को हर 3 महीने बाद अपनी रिपोर्ट देंगे और 2 महीने में एक बार वो हर स्टेट में कमेटी जाएगी और देखेगी कि वहाँ पे ग्राउंड लेवल पे क्या हो रहा है और हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं.
Admitting that the recent Delhi pollution has taken a toll on his health, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari suggested on Thursday that farmers in nearly 20 years, as it remained many times above what is considered to be safe levels for a second week. Environmental campaigners have been urging the authorities to take stringent measures to tame pollution and improve the air quality. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Well, government is thinking of reintroducing compulsory Class 10 board examination. Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that if such a decision is taken, it will only be applied from the next academic year. Now, while speaking at an interaction organized by FICCI, he said that the government is also planning to bring in a new system under which educational institutions are going to be regulated. He added that apart from NAAC ratings, the ranking of the educational institution in the HRD Ministry's NIRF ranking will also be taken into consideration to grade them. He said that for the best institutes, there will be a maximum autonomy and a minimum regulation. For the next category, there will be a balance of autonomy and regulations. And for those institutes which are behind these two categories, they would have more regulation and less of autonomy. The minister added that equality is the biggest challenge in the education sector. On to the other developing story. Well, Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar on Thursday said that India should not bind itself to a no first use nuclear policy. However, he clarified that it is his personal opinion and not an official stand. Now, speaking at the release of a book, the new Arthashastra, a security strategy for India, Parrikar said that India should follow the policy of a responsible nuclear power. Parrikar also clarified that his opinion is not to be taken as the government's view. His statement came at a time when tension with Pakistan is at a high. Remember, India carried out surgical strikes last on 29th of September, days after Pakistani terrorists attacked an army camp in Uri in Kashmir, leaving 19 Indian soldiers dead. Meanwhile, former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah said that the no first use of nuclear weapons has been the cornerstone of a country's nuclear policy, which has allowed it to lay claim to being a responsible power.
If a written down strategy exists or you take a stand really on a nuclear aspect, I think you are actually giving away your strength in nuclear. Nuclear concept, why a lot of people say that India has not first used nuclear concept. Why should I bind myself to I should say I am a responsible nuclear power and I will not use it irresponsibly. This is my thinking. Some of them may immediately tomorrow flash. Parrikar says that nuclear doctrine has changed. It's not changed in any government policy.
Now let's take a look at the events that are lined up for the day. Here is the day ahead. Former Supreme Court Judge Markande Kaju will appear before the Apex Court today to participate in the proceedings of Soumya rape case and to explain why the judgment requires a review and the death sentence be imposed on the accused. In his Facebook comments, Justice Kaju had mentioned that the court's verdict to spare life of a condemned man in a sensational case suffered from fundamental flaws. The Apex Court had then quashed Govinda Chami's death penalty but had upheld his life imprisonment. Andhra Pradesh High Court will hear a PIL challenging government's decision to withdraw 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. On Thursday, Madurai bench of Madras High Court had dismissed a petition which sought directions to the central government to reverse its own decision, which would make 500 and 1,000 rupee notes legal tender again. And the Congress party will launch a massive Dalit outreach program from Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh today. Through this month-long campaign, the party will reach out to 10,00,000 households in poll-bound state. Congress General Secretary and UP in charge Ghulam Nabi Azad will flag off this Dalit campaign in Lucknow. On to some international news now. Well, US President Barack Obama and his successor Donald Trump put aside their differences in their first meeting at the White House. Well, during a 90-minute private meeting, the two discussed foreign and domestic policy and how to ensure a smooth handover of power. However, most Americans are still to come to terms with Trump's win in the US presidential polls, and many took to the streets across the country for a second consecutive day. US President Barack Obama welcomed President-elect Donald Trump to the White House on a Thursday, with both men putting past antagonisms aside for the peaceful transfer of political power. Trump called Obama a very good man and said he would seek his counsel in the future. He thanked Obama for the meeting, which he said had originally been scheduled for 10 minutes and went on for 90. The president-elect was accompanied by his wife Melania, who had a meeting with First Lady Michelle Obama.
I just had the opportunity to have an excellent conversation with President-elect Trump. It was wide-ranging. We talked about some of the organizational issues in setting up a White House. We talked about foreign policy. We talked about domestic policy. And as I said last night, my number one priority in the coming 2 months is to try to facilitate a transition that ensures our president-elect is successful.
We discussed a lot of different situations, some wonderful and some difficulties. I very much look forward to dealing with the president in the future, including counsel. He explained some of the difficulties, some of the high-flying assets, and some of the really great things that have been achieved.
Donald Trump had launched himself onto the political stage by questioning Obama's US citizenship and eligibility to be the president.
while Obama had called Trump uniquely unqualified to occupy the nation's highest office.
Based on the kind of agreement that was evident about the priority that they both place on a smooth transition, it sounds like the meeting might have been at least a little less awkward than some might have expected.
After the shocking verdict in US polls, both Obama and Democrat Hillary Clinton have appealed for unity. However, thousands continue taking to the streets of major US cities on Thursday to protest the presidential election victory of Trump. 65 people were arrested in New York while shop windows were smashed and missiles hurled at riot police during demonstrations in Oakland in California. An anti-Trump rally also shut down the key 101 freeways in Los Angeles.
I'm afraid for my son. I'm afraid for the people that I know who are undocumented. I'm afraid for my cousins who got married.
Despite Obama's determination to facilitate a smooth and effective transition of power, there is going to be a heavy burden of the presidency on the shoulders of President-elect, especially because he has no previous political, diplomatic or military executive experience. And more so because of antipathy of hundreds of thousands of others who were alienated by his bitter campaign. The temporary truce between the White House and Trump and his Republican Party obscures a disquiet about Trump, his temperament and the policies that his presidency will usher in. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
More news from across the world. Here is the World Wrap. A powerful Taliban truck bomb struck the German consulate in Afghanistan's Mazar-e-Sharif city, killing at least 2 people and wounding more than 100. The Taliban called it a revenge attack for US airstrikes in the Kunduz province that left 32 civilians dead. The suicide attacker rammed his explosives-laden car into the wall of the German consulate. Afghan special forces cordoned off the consulate area and a search operation is on. South African President Jacob Zuma has survived a no-confidence vote. Zuma on a Thursday won with the 214 lawmakers voting against the motion, while 126 voted in favour and 1 abstained. The vote was called by the main opposition Democratic Alliance Party last week after South Africa's public protector called for a judicial inquiry into the allegations of corruption in Zuma's government. In the Middle East, the Iraqi special forces are facing difficulties to advance into the northern city of Mosul as bomb attacks and sniper assaults from militants are making their advance increasingly difficult. The commandos of the Iraqi forces have ended operations to clear several districts in eastern Mosul after several days of fierce clashes with the IS militants. Currently, thousands of civilians are still trapped in the southern part of Mosul, many being used as human shields by the extremists. Well, that's the wrap on this edition of News. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.